Welcome to my first personal reflection as part of our cultural events um, for the week of March 23rd. Today is Monday, March 30th, so I thought today would be a good day to do this. Instead of doing this over economics or politics, which I don't have all the knowledge in the world about, I thought that I could do this as more of a personal reflection, like one of the options said. um, I'm the person that knows myself best, so I felt like that would bring better insight to whatever I'm talking about. And um, well, yes, that's why I decided to do it like this. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was, or the thing that's really been affecting me was the lost sense of normality that this has brought to my everyday life. Without a routine or like the physical, even the small physical action of having to leave my house to go to class, um, it's really brought everything to a halt, I think. And this week has just been a process of adjusting to all these new conditions, which is also why I'm in Waco in my room instead of being um, back in Dallas with my family. And although opinions may be different, I thought that I would be better off here um, for the most part because this makes me feel like everything is back to normal up to a point. Back home, I can't really work. Um, it's not the environment that I've been in. This was my way of bringing back that sense of normality that I needed. And even so, it's still gone because, like I said, there's no need for me to go anywhere, and I just have to be here, which honestly has made me get up pretty late, sleep pretty late, which is something that I would have been delighted to do before, but now it's excuse me, now it's not the best thing to do. It really makes me feel like my days are gone in a blink, and that everything I do is kind of just the online work. And um, it's a bit difficult because it makes me feel like there's not really a sense of productivity, and I'm not really going anywhere. It feels like I'm stuck here. Um, Even the social interaction that's gone now, that used to be a really big part of my life. Being involved in a fraternity, I got to see the guys, the brothers. I got to see everybody every day, friends. Right as school ended, I would go get a tea with people. I would go and socialize, and there'd be so much stuff to talk about. I honestly considered myself as an interesting individual that always had conversation, but now when we're surrounded by negative news all the time, and everything I see on the news is about the virus, because that's the only thing that's going on in the world right now, and it really surrounds us with like a negative mindset. I'm usually a very not a not I don't want to say a deep thinker, um, which I feel like I am sometimes, but what I want to say is that I'm somebody that really gets into their thoughts and into their head um, whenever there's nothing else to do. And that can spiral in a very negative way, which I'm afraid it might happen with other students. It kind of reminds me of Gilman's Yellow Wallpaper, and how like she was driven to insanity by the isolation. Um, and it's something that I can see maybe not happening to me, but I can see myself like spiraling in thought, or like spiraling towards a sort of depressive frame of thought with all this like negative news around us. There's really nothing else to talk about, which is the point I'm trying to make. Whenever I call friends or something like that, nowadays I feel really boring. I feel like there's nothing to talk about. I feel like there's nothing to be said, or nothing I can contribute to people besides what I've been working on at school through these online assignments. And which is also the reason that I cut my hair really short. This is the shortest I've had my hair in years, and I thought that big change would bring sort would bring some sort of change in my routine, or would make things different, but it really hasn't affected much. So yeah, that's uh, that's mostly what I wanted to talk about in this first reflection. Um, while this has been a period of adjustment during this week, it's it's been a slow adjustment, basically because we've been stuck in here, stuck at home with nothing to really bring light out of this situation. Um, at first, I honestly thought this was going to bring forth some sort of maybe a renaissance movement or change the way we think. Um, because we'd be locked at home and we'd be forced to turn to books or would be forced to turn into our hobbies, maybe exercise all day long or cook or learn how to do this and that. But I find it hard personally to draw inspiration to do something like that whenever we're surrounded by negative news. Whenever we lose our sense of routine or sense of normality, whenever everything is just stuck in lockdown, um, which is why I find it harder to I find it way harder to have something to talk about nowadays. Um, but hopefully that will change. I'm hoping that next week we can have a better understanding of how classes will work, so I can form some sort of schedule to work around that and still find myself productive. I know that the quarantine and being 6 feet away from people doesn't necessarily mean like concrete isolation where you cannot leave your house. So I'm hoping that in the next week I can be able to better manage my time and the things I do uh, in a way that doesn't make me feel unproductive and lazy and stuck at home. Um, with that said, this is my first reflection. Hopefully, it's not me talking about the same thing over and over. Um, but like I said, it's hard to find anything else to talk about. I feel myself going a little, not nuts or crazy, but just what else can I do here? Um, and by no means am I saying give us more work to do. You know, it's just I need to find something to see this in a better, more positive perspective. Because right now, um, I don't know, things are very nothing is really looking great, um, and I think this will really affect the way I'm gonna act later on and the things I'm gonna value later on. I may have gone over with the time, but thank you for listening, Dr. King, and I'll see you next week.